There is a breaking news that is coming in. There has been high alert in Haryana following the Pathankot terror attack in the neighbouring state of Punjab. Chief Minister of Haryana, Manohar Lal Khattar, has put the state on high alert following the attack on the Air Force base. Khattar has said in a tweet, and I quote, "The terror plans of terrorists must be stopped." That is what the Chief Minister of the neighbouring state of Haryana has said. Gaurav Sawant in the studio with me. Gaurav, as I was mentioning, a word about the brave effort put there by the security forces, the personnel, those who were deployed at the Air Force station. Element of surprise was with the terrorists, but our forces responded with a befitting reply.
You know, the entire intelligence and security apparatus of India, fortunately, there was a specific intelligence alert. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, according to our sources in the government, he coordinated a meeting, and yesterday itself, as soon as the superintendent of police, his car was waylaid, his driver was, taken away. The other driver, unfortunately, was killed. But we were quick to connect the dots. The government was able to connect the dots, and immediately security forces were rushed to the Pathankot airbase. 2 army columns, 2 special forces teams were rushed there. The energy commandos were rushed in, and when the terrorists struck this morning, they could not break in as they wanted to initially. They crossed the outer periphery. That's where we lost 2 DSC personnel, and that is where they were engaged by the security forces. First the Garud commandos in the outer periphery, and then the special forces inside. And ever since, they've been trying to get in. 4 Pakistani terrorists have been killed. We are told 2 are still engaging the security forces. And right now, even as we speak, I'm told for the past hour or so, unmanned aerial vehicles, an attack helicopter, they're out in the sky. They're scanning this entire area to know where these terrorists are hiding, so that there are no casualties on ground and these terrorists can be isolated and, God willing, neutralized as quickly as possible.
That's right. You can hear that the problem there with Gaurav's voice. It has been a rolling coverage on India Today right from 7 a.m. in the morning, bringing you live updates every minute. In fact, the latest that we are getting in is that the high alert has been sounded off not only in Delhi but in other parts of the country. Also, there is high alert now in Haryana, in national capital Delhi. Vital installations are being monitored by security forces all across the national capital. Sources in the intelligence apparatus informing India Today that there was a meeting that notorious Pakistani spy agency ISI held with the terrorist groups in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and they were given instructions to carry out high-scale attacks in India. Tariq Pirzada back with us. Mr. Pirzada, are you all right?
Yeah, it was a major tremor, but it's over now. Go ahead.
All right, so Mr. Pirzada is safe and sound there in Pakistan. Gaurav, intelligence input, of course, that the sources are sharing with us is that ISI had asked the terror groups not only to step up their efforts but coordinate attacks on the Indian soil.
You know, given a situation like this, when there are intelligence inputs, Tariq Pirzada, again, we revert to our rule. We don't speak over each other. Each speaks, the other responds in 30 seconds. Clear, sir? Okay, now let's move forward. 26/11, India gave specific intelligence inputs and evidence of Pakistani state involvement. Why did Pakistan not investigate the conspiracy that was hatched in Pakistani soil?
Are you addressing me?
Okay, Tariq Pirzada, the conspiracy was hatched on Pakistani soil. Why did Pakistan not investigate this case in the right earnest?
Okay, the answer is that the government of India was requested to provide all the relevant evidence to the authorities in Pakistan. That evidence was, produced by the government of Pakistan, and it was taken to the Supreme Court against Hafiz Saeed, if you remember, and the Supreme Court went through that evidence, read it, analyzed it, and then they came up with the conclusion that the documents provided by the Indian government had no substance. These are clippings of
Okay,
different newspapers.
stop, sir. Your 30 seconds are over. My question was not the evidence provided by India should have been the end all. That was for Pakistan government to build on that evidence. The Federal Investigation Agency made certain arrests. It started investigations, but it did not pursue it. My question is, if you want to stop terror in your country also, why wasn't that case pursued in the right earnest? Why did you not build on that evidence?
Well, first of all, we are more worried about terrorism in Pakistan, and we have already lost 60,000 people. You know that. I don't have to repeat it. We are still fighting this battle. We have been able to overcome 80% of the terrorism in Pakistan. So there is hardly any time in the life of any Pakistani, from Rahil Sharif, from Nawaz Sharif to Tariq Mirzada, to think about the evil of terrorism being spread in India. So this is a phobia that exists in India, which says that it is always Pakistan. Listen to Rajnath, what he said. We are investigating. Now your report that you just shared with us 30 seconds ago, it said the sources have told you. Well, are the sources, cheating the Interior Minister of India and not telling him what they are telling you?
Your 30 seconds are over, sir. Thank you very much. The point is, you are once again skirting the issue. The current attack, sources will give more information, as will Government of India. But I'm talking about, for example, the Gurdaspur attack. The GPS device indicated terrorists came from Pakistan. The night vision device was of American origin, used by the Taliban in Afghanistan. That was used by the Pakistan army, by the terrorists, then sent to, used by these terrorists when they came into India. So when information is built on, when evidence is there as forensic evidence, which is admissible as evidence in any court of law anywhere in the world, why doesn't Pakistan act as a good neighbor,
sir? Can I answer you
sir?
in 30 seconds?
Go on, sir.
Here's the answer. The answer is that right after that incident of Gurdaspur, the contacts were made by India with Pakistan, and then the whole issue of Gurdaspur went on the back burner, and what we had was a normalization of relations with
So that
Pakistan.
does not mean you will not act on terror, sir. That does not mean you will not act on that evidence. You should investigate that evidence. That is precisely what is India's point, sir.
Material on that issue. That means your government did not have any serious evidence on that issue. Had it not been the case, you would not have normalized relations with Pakistan.
Sir, the Prime Minister took this initiative to move towards normalization. The relationship hasn't normalized because an effort is being made to move towards that normalization. But these terror attacks will continue to disrupt that relationship, and that is where, Ankit, that point becomes extremely important, that Pakistan-sponsored terror needs to stop, and the mindset that is displayed by elements in the Pakistani state and by elements and guests like Tariq Pirzada, unless that mindset changes, there will be no peace between India and Pakistan.
There will not be any peace until Kashmir, Siachen, Sarkrik are resolved. Let me give you the fundamental rule of thumb.
No, sir. Fundamental rule of thumb is there will be no peace as long as Pakistan-sponsored terror continues. Terror is the core issue, and it's high time Pakistan realizes that, Ankit.
Rajnath has said there is no evidence so far.
Mr. Pirzada, let me remind you what your Prime Minister and also your National Security Advisor had also agreed to in writing with India, that the focus of the talks, the major issue would be terror. They have not agreed to anything else. As going forward, it would be terror emanating from Pakistan that is hurting and bleeding India. So my question to you, my question to you now is that you said that the Jaish-e-Mohammed is a banned organization in Pakistan. That does not mean that they have been eliminated. They still exist. Their training centers do exist. Should Pakistan not be doing enough to completely eliminate these terrorists?
Let me answer that. All right, let's go one by one. Number one, when you say that it is a banned organization, as I said, but then it does exist, its elements exist, its people exist. you cannot shoot the people to death. You can arrest them, you can stop their activities. If they are involved in any crime, you can punish them. But unless there is a serious evidence against anybody, like the Supreme Court of Pakistan said, there is no evidence against Hafiz Saeed. So
That's
Well,
right.
that is because you did not pursue the case, sir. That's point one. Point two, you know, Tariq Pirzada, why I want you to listen to us. Sir, we are not speaking on top of each other, please. You've had your say. Now let me have mine.
Sure.
Let's be very clear.
Sure.
Don't break the ground rules. Sir, the point that we are making is you have double standards. When terrorists attacked Pakistan's, Army Public School in Peshawar, those terrorists were hanged. Those terrorists who attacked India, those who were responsible for the conspiracy, no action. That is the worrying double standards of Pakistan, sir. Go on, Tariq Pirzada, your turn.
Let me quickly answer that. If you have any evidence of Pakistan's involvement as a state in any incident, give it to us. We will like to have good relations with you and penalize and punish those people, put them behind bar or hang them if you provide us the evidence. But you are using terror as a tool of diplomacy to demonize Pakistan.
Okay, 30 seconds, you've had your say. 30 seconds, you've had your say. I have a stopwatch. You've had your say. Now my turn. I was in the Chicago courthouse, the federal courthouse in Chicago, when David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Hussain Rana underwent that trial for 2611. David Coleman Headley gave names of Pakistan ISI officers. He gave names of Hafiz Saeed. He gave names of Zakiur Rahman Lakwi and others. Tahawwur Hussain Rana had more information about Pakistani state involvement. India gave you that information. US gave you that information. No action taken against those who were involved. Your turn, sir.
Anybody can appear in a court of law and take the name, state the name, or allege anybody to be involved in any crime anywhere on the face of planet. The issue is hard, irrefutable evidence. And that's the rule
that evidence, Tariq Pirzada, was good enough to convict both Tahawwur Hussain Rana and David Coleman Headley in a US courthouse. That evidence was sufficient. Sadly, none of that evidence is sufficient in Pakistan.
I request both Gaurav and Tariq Pirzada to stay on with us. We are just slipping into a very short break. Manjeet is also going to join us after this. But Mr. Pirzada, before we slip into this break, as you said, anybody can say anything in a court of law. Hopefully you'll remember this argument next time you quote your Supreme Court when you say that they have not found anything against Hafiz Saeed.